here's the thing, okay? So everybody loves to spell my name with an A because that's the way it's spelled in the Bible, Jared. Because nobody has any form of understanding
Are
as
we
to
really
Huh?
starting our sports podcast with a conversation about how you got your name from the Bible?
Well, first of all,
With
it's
the
not
best
from the
will in the
Bible.
world, isn't that a bit of a stretch?
Like, didn't
No,
everybody get their name
listen.
from the Bible at some point? Like,
There is a
I mean,
Jared
I had
in there is a
I'm
Jared
pretty
in the
sure
Bible.
names like Shaniqua aren't in the Bible.
Correct.
I had a great story about how my car still isn't fixed line up for the start of the podcast as well.
Okay, well, we'll get to that, but y'all
Right.
question me
Actually,
about
I
why
just
my
got my
A
car
is
fixed.
capitalized. So
Jared.
you want to talk about? We should talk about that. Like, I had a
Jared.
rotted clamp.
I'm
on
gonna
my
talk
fine.
about why the A in my name is capitalized first, and then you can have your fun. Okay? So
because you're the alternate Bapti.
yes, no.
Capital A for.
Right, all of you, shut up. Answer my question, you mad Canadian fuck. Do you want to talk about a different sport to the normal ones you cover in the rest of the podcast? You can unmute yourself.
This is a great start. What is it?
Lacrosse.
What about lacrosse?
The fact that the championships have been postponed from this year.
Oh, I mean everything's been postponed.
Well, no, but everyone's making a massive fuss out of this, even though we're still in the middle of a freaking pandemic.
Yeah, but with the best bill in the world, we haven't got a to and fro on that because the conversation, and I'm assuming here, Sean, because you look like a man that breathes in and out every now and again, has kind of gone the assumption that, it's been delayed.
Yeah, but everyone's like, why aren't we going
okay.
to concerts? And why aren't we doing this? And why aren't we doing that? And, COVID's still kind of relevant to talk about.
It's kind of pointless to discuss because we all have exactly the same point. So you've already discussed it at length because we're all going to go, yep. So we can all go, yep, if
and
that's
then move on.
Well, yeah, and a bunch of like the figure skating world championships were postponed. The rugby world championships were postponed. Like everything's being postponed.
Yeah, but everyone's making
the
a massive
rugby
deal
world
out
championship.
of it.
The Rugby World Championship was postponed, but the Six Nations were still played.
Yeah,
because no one else can play rugby, but we have to fight everyone else in Europe, apparently.
Correct.
And
just lay a beat down on Italy.
The French and the Italians.
That is Europe.
It's primarily just you feeling superior over the Italians and the French once more.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Occasionally losing to the Welsh
that makes
and
sense.
South Africans.
We don't talk about that.
Okay. I think we should just go now because
we already are because we started recording.
We have already started.
That's the game. He doesn't tell me when he starts. Can I update everyone on my car? Because I felt that was,
I don't think so because we had 2 stories interrupted and this intro's gone on long enough.
Okay.
So, anyways, welcome to Better Luck next week.
You doing it?
Pardon?
You doing it?
Yes. Are you deaf?
No, I just didn't know if you were doing it.
It's the whole not listening thing, which I guess will come into play a bit later on.
You want me to mute him?
So.
Hello, my name is
No, it's fine.
Welcome
so we have Sean Sennett giving the ASMR version of my name. It's wonderful. Sean is joining us for the first time because he's a hockey guy, and we have a lot of hockey to talk about, and not a whole lot of NFL and Formula One to talk about, which we'll still touch on, of course. But I didn't think it was fair to Gavin to just keep talking at him about hockey and him going, I can relate this to football and stuff. But
I had been trying to watch the hockey, but with the best will in the world, with all the sports I'm currently trying to keep up with, there's a million and one things going on.
Well, and it's also difficult when most hockey. It's also difficult when most hockey starts at 7 p.m. Eastern time.
Yeah.
So
you guys are 5 hours behind us.
Yeah. That ruined.
So 7 plus 5.
Let's keep guys on sports.
And we already know that Gavin goes to bed at 9:30 because he's an elderly man.
Or just like sleep.
It's okay that you don't watch the NHL. To be honest, the game's ruined anyway. So
yeah, we'll get to that, Sean. Don't worry. We'll start with Formula One though. The cars are out on the track now, and they look even better than they did in the room on the track now.
Yeah.
But Ferrari's already been having some problems, right, Gav?
Mm-hmm. So without giving up my sources and stuff like that, they have gearbox problems, the same as Mercedes. The problem is that last year they were both very reliable, but everyone in F1 pushes everything on so much as hard as you can. There's never been a conversation in a Formula One engine garage or a Formula One wing conversation of going, well, it was really reliable and it stayed together last year, so let's not make any changes to it. I'm going to make changes to it, which means they've dialed the power of the engine up. Ferrari have got a brand new engine, which seems to be kind of working, but the problem is they've dialed them all up. They've made everything lighter and tried to make everything faster, and they're having teething problems.
Well, but also it's a brand new engine with the exact same specs as last year because they couldn't change any of those, right?
Yeah, so it's a new engine.
The only people that could change those was McLaren, right?
Yeah, it's a new kind of piston layout, if that makes sense. So instead of, I think they've changed the angles so they can bring it lower down in the car. But every team had to spend tokens. The confusing one for me on the token front. So you got a token, like if you wanted to, you change your front wing, you spend a token. If you wanted to change your wheels, you spend a token.
Here you go, Jimmy. Here's a token for your wheels.
So McLaren have spent
token for the slot machine. Let's see what you get.
Yeah.
You got a brand new front wing.
The very strange one at the moment.
Stuff in Rocket League, like.
Yeah. The very strange one at the moment that no one can really understand is obviously Red Bull are the parent team to AlphaTauri. AlphaTauri basically get Red Bull's old car. They're owned by the same people. They do the same stuff. There's a few bits of corporate hoo-ha going on to make it make sense. But AlphaTauri have decided that they don't want the Red Bull upgrade. Red Bull went, here's our car.
It's designed for Max Verstappen.
Yep. They went, here's our car. And AlphaTauri went, no, you're all right, thanks. And didn't take it.
Yeah, we don't want a car designed for one driver that's not on our team. Sorry.
Which I think speaks to that car. I haven't gone through the times in depth because it's testing.
They're not
reality, they're not pushing it.
No, they're measuring sticks for their own teams and not necessarily to be measured against each other, right?
It's also at Bahrain on Michelin come out with test tires, which are basically a tire that none of the teams know where it sits on the kind of spectrum of how grippy it is. So they go, here's a test tire, use that, and it basically invalidate it. It means the cars can run and shake down and they can do some aero tests. But apart from that, there's not really much going on. They look interesting. It's going to be interesting to see. Ricciardo topped the tables, but then that may be because McLaren want him to get as much seat time as at a higher pace as possible, which would be my kind of go-to as well, because he's the guy that doesn't know how the car's going to work. But it's interesting to see that Ferrari and Mercedes are having problems, because if I was Mercedes, I would have sat back at the end of this year and gone, cool, right, let's make some tweaks, but let's not completely change the thing. But I think on the speed traps, the McLaren was about 6 miles an hour faster, which doesn't sound like a lot, but around a Formula One lap, it's quite a big jump. But then I don't know if that's Mercedes not turning their engine up all the way. So it's difficult to tell at the moment. Formula One is Formula One.
As it is. And we talked last week about Nikita Mazepin and his car. And we know that the Russian Olympic athletes are not going to be able to compete under the Russian flag. And that has extended to other Russian athletes, particularly in F1. They're not supposed to compete under the Russian flag. And that ban, I believe, is going till at least 2022. So at the Winter Olympics as well in Tokyo, again, it'll be Olympic athletes from Russia. It's not the Russian flag or anything like that. So we discussed it last week, but Sean hasn't even seen Nikita Mazepin's car yet. So Belle, if
this is like a protest thing. This is
you
like
can pull it up.
He's decided.
Okay, so just so you're aware, Sean, this is what the Russian flag looks like.
What?
Okay?
Right.
Sorry.
Insane.
It looks
So,
like the
I'm gonna
sailing
show you-
sign behind my head there. See? It's...
It does.
Yeah, actually, Jared, are you
So,
going to rush
you
somebody? Are you
Russian.
defecting?
Are
here?
you a
What's going on?
Russian spy?
No, I just
Yeah.
want to go. I just want to go sailing.
Right. This is the Russian flag. I'm going to show you 3 pictures of Nikita Mazepin's car. I want you to just see if you see what we see.
Butterfly. It looks like a butterfly. Oh, wow.
Do you see what we see?
Yeah. It's just
How about now?
Mother Russia
It's
spewing all her glory onto
oh yeah, just
this beautiful.
it's just
F1.
like Mother Russia just finished all over this car and was just like,
Yeah,
oh,
It's just like a
that's,
slight
Oh.
resemblance here to the Russian flag. But who knows? They
You
could have
think
been
you
going
should,
for They could have been going for Jared's come.
yeah,
come
the
sail
sailing.
away
They just want to sail
sign,
away
so
with a
I don't know
Formula
if-
One.
I don't know if
car.
you can prove this really, or maybe they're huge Washington Capital fans. You know,
Mm.
I don't think anyone's a Russian Capital fan, really.
I mean, Alexander Ovechkin plays for the Washington Capitals, so I feel like that.
Ooh,
I can understand.
And
I
Evgeny
can
Kuznetsov and
it's like a
Nicholas
circle, just
Backstrom.
connects.
Yeah.
I can understand being this is going to be a difficult one for the FIA to kind of call, because it's where is what do you call a flag is the argument, unfortunately, that they're going to have, because if there was a square on that car in those colors, then yeah, you've got a flag. And if you look at Nikita Mazepin's nationality, it is not a Russian flag. And if he wins a race, it will not be Russian.
Where they have, you mean
Yeah,
like where they have
the
the
nationality.
flag on
Yeah.
his helmet or whatever.
Does he have family in Russia? Like,
Yeah.
or
Yeah, his dad.
Well, yeah,
his dad
his-
owns
Yeah,
Russian
his
got some
dad's a
connections.
Russian billionaire.
right? But I agree. I think the if like the technicalities
Mm.
and the like legal issues
Yeah,
like
but
that,
I'm not
that-
being
it-
funny.
you can't really. I don't know.
You
I
can't-
feel
you
like you
can't
wouldn't be able
say,
to
you
do
know,
anything about that.
Like,
Just because
if it
you put the colors on the car in that order doesn't mean it's a flag.
no,
Right. Yeah, and that's what I was getting at with like the Washington Capitals fan or
Yeah.
like the sign. I mean, like obvious. It's
Mm.
very obvious, but again,
Yeah. like
technicalities.
on the actual car, like the stripes, yeah, okay, there's a bit of, they could just be the colors.
It's
But I'm
pretty
not being
blatant.
funny. On the front wing, when it is effectively a square
yeah.
and the 3 colors are in the order of the Russian flag, that I would say,
but-
that's the Russian flag. Like the stripes on the car that are
But
not
you
a
see,
perfect
Belle,
square, fine.
But you see, Belle, the colors on
I
the
being
front
logical?
wing, they're not touching each other. They're separate.
I don't
Only
think our
the-
listeners want an extended conversation about what is
On
and
the
what is.
Russian
What
flag.
isn't
Let's get
isn't
into
a
the
flag?
legalities of it. So
All
if you look
14
at clause
isn't?
45.3, no.
Yes, hold on. Let me just pull out
Let me
the
just-
Formula One rule book here.
It's a lot thicker than that. I've read it.
Yeah, this is actually just my Audi service manual.
Jesus
F1
Christ.
Bible.
I hope that was a wonderful noise for our ASMR
Oh, yeah.
listeners.
It's getting good.
It was really loud. Okay.
Don't, because I listened to this on like a Tuesday morning to just go through the podcast and just listen and say it, sound how we sound and think about it.
Yeah.
And I'm going to be driving to work quite bleary-eyed on a Tuesday morning, and suddenly
Then all of a sudden,
my
Jared
speakers-
just out of nowhere ASMR.
Well, but then you'll be woken up by my manual hitting the ground, so you'll be fine then.
That's a very good point. That is a very good point.
You'll just be driving along and you'll be like,
Just
"Oh,
ASMR.
go to work."
Oh, lovely.
Bam!
Should we talk about the NFL now?
Yeah, we can do that. What do you
And
want to
how-
start with? Do you want to start with your rant, or do you want to start with more nice things?
I
first?
don't even know if I have the strength in me to rant anymore, Jared.
Okay, well, let's do it then.
I need to be
So the
carried.
Patriots. So to context it, the Patriots have
Said it.
doing two things, right? They're trying to trade for Trent Brown, who's this gigantic, monstrous offensive lineman with like probably 4 of me would make up his left leg. And then they've
Like an
also
elephant, like they put a helmet on an elephant.
He's-
They're like, go ahead.
he's just ignored. I mean, you might as well just have an elephant lie down on the field, and that'd be a better offensive line than what the Patriots had last year, probably. So that's why they're doing that, because they can't get an actual elephant. They're getting an elephant-shaped man in Trent Brown, or trying to. And then they've also re-signed Cam Newton after he explicitly said that he did not want to come back to the Patriots. Take it away, Gav.
I mean, what? Where do I start? Like, why in the entirety of the problems that we have as a team right now, which is that we don't have a reliable quarterback, because with the best one in the world, Cam Newton, he's not. Okay, he was the MVP a couple of years ago, and he's cheap.
He didn't start. He didn't start the last 2 games of the season because he was so bad.
Yeah. We haven't got anyone to throw to. We haven't got anyone that runs the ball because both of our running backs are a free agency this year. And are you telling me you want to come back to the Patriots?
No.
I don't. I'm going to go anywhere else.
And he's a fan. He wants to go elsewhere.
Apart from that, the rest of the team is in complete disarray. There is no defense. Stephon Gilmore, who is our most valuable cornerback, basically carried the defense last year. But the problem is that now people want him. And,
he's good.
He's good. All you've got to do is offer here's a 5th-year offensive lineman with a knee that's basically made of dust. And Bill Belichick could go, fucking hell, how much can I give you for him?
I'll give you 2 firsts and a second for that guy.
Yeah. But none of it.
That's also the most energy Bill Belichick has ever demonstrated. So
none of it makes sense at any point. There is nothing left there for this team. We have nothing of value to trade. If we had some value and we could trade up in the draft and get someone who was worth getting, that's going to make a change to the team, that is going to change the heart of the team, and you can move forward with, then that would make a difference. But we're drafting 15th.
Yeah, I just don't understand why would the Patriots not go full rebuild at this point? With a new GM.
Well, you need a new GM. You need a new. I think you need a new head coach, if I'm honest, because
Belichick basically is the general manager as well.
Yeah.
I couldn't even tell you who the GM of the Patriots actually is.
It used to work because teams would spend 60 billion pounds a year on a quarterback, and then the rest of the team would be garbage. And we had some good wide receivers, some good talent at different points of the ball, and had drafted very cleverly over the past couple of years. And we had a team that was continuous.
Well, and Tom Brady didn't want $60 million a year.
Tom Brady didn't want $60 million a year. But now Cam Newton doesn't want to take a pay cut. The only reason he's come back this year is because he put himself out in the free agency market, and everyone kind of went, no one really wants you, Cam.
Well, yeah, it's because, nobody wants him, so he might as well come back.
Yeah, he's going up. There's a paycheck there.
Yeah.
He's got no one to throw to. He's got no one to run the football for him. And he's got a defense that's got more holes in it than Swiss cheese.
He might as well run it himself.
Well, and even when he does run it himself, all somebody needs to do is just go for his kneecap, and that's dust as well.
I think the reason, if we're honest, that Cam Newton did so well in his initial years in the league was because he came into every single game and every defensive coordinator went, what? The quarterback can run? What are we meant to do with that? And then they had a scramble for a couple of years where Cam Newton destroyed them. They've now figured it out. They've figured it out with players that are better than him.
Lamar Jackson.
Yes, he was the highest scoring quarterback in all of football. He did the most running it into the end zone. But
he was an MVP a couple of years ago, 2015, right?
But that was more than 5 years ago, Jared. What's there? And why is the biggest off-season move we're making for an offensive tackle? Where is the thing that is going to revitalize the team? And it's not as if there's not free agency talent out there. There is bundles of free agency talent. There's bundles of wide receivers. There's bundles of running backs. There is bundles of people that you could bring into the team and do well. But the problem is he doesn't want to spend any money for some unknown reason.
Well, I do wonder if this is the Toronto Maple Leaf syndrome, where nobody wants to actually commit to rebuilding the Patriots yet. Because I'll tell you this. when Brian Burke first joined Sportsnet, he came out and he was formerly the general manager of the Toronto Maple Leafs. He came out and said, I didn't have the guts to rebuild the Maple Leafs. And I mean, first of all, to hear that from a former general manager of your team, you didn't have the guts to do what needed to be done. Why were you hired in the first place, right? I feel like the Patriots may be starting to suffer from that as well, where nobody wants to fully rebuild them because their legacy has been so massive after Brady, and nobody is brave enough to commit to the full pain of 5+ years. It's going to have to happen for the Patriots because they have nothing. They have nothing in the wings. They have nothing currently. Like you need to build up a prospect pool to do what happened to the Toronto Blue Jays. The Blue Jays went on a little run in 2015-16, and then new management came in and blew the whole thing up and built up one of the top prospect pools in baseball. And now they're starting to become successful again 5 years later.
I mean, it's all right because when Tom Brady retires in 35 years, he'll end up coaching the Patriots, and then he'll just buy them, and then everybody gets a deflated ball to use, and we'll win.
We'll not have this argument. The one
I'm just kidding. I'm a Pats fan too, man.
As the football that's on my piano there.
My cousin used to play for the Pats. Mike Vrabel.
Fair enough. So did Bill Belichick just find him on his walk home, like saw a guy, chucked a cabbage, caught the cabbage down like the grocery aisle and went, "Oh, wide receiver," because that's Bill Belichick's like wide receiver and tight end.
Vrabel was what, a defensive back?
Tight end. So what he did there, Belichick threw a cabbage at another man, and Vrabel decked him, and he went, "Oh yeah, I'll have that guy."
Mm-hmm. So, as another Patriots fan, I'll ask you a question. So Cam Newton was the second worst passing quarterback in the league last year. Who do you think he beat?
This implies that Sean Sennett knows quarterbacks.
I don't know
in the
anything
NFL.
about that. I don't know anything about that. Like I don't know like a lot of players.
One person. So we've re-signed this guy. The one person that he beat was Carson Wentz.
Yeah, I've never even heard of that guy.
Just the guy from the Eagles that throws it to the other team.
He does. He did that quite a lot last year. That's why they got rid of him.
Yeah, Carson Wentz has got more yards throwing it to the other team than he has to throwing it to his own team.
Did you watch the Super Bowl where the Eagles were in it? Do you remember?
Oh yeah.
But that was Nick Foles that played that game. Big Dick Nick, as he became known, right? And that's because Carson Wentz was injured. Nick Foles came in and won them a Super Bowl because Nick Foles is actually better than Carson Wentz, even though Carson Wentz is getting paid like $28 million.
It's too much. Yeah, I mean, are we really thinking that the Patriots are going to turn around a 7-9 season?
No, it's actually just going to get worse.
Worse.
And it should get worse. They need it to get worse because you can't afford to keep drafting 15th overall with Cam Newton as your starting quarterback.
It hurts me deeply. I want to.
It doesn't hurt me at all. I'm sorry.
There's things that I look at and go, "Oh, we could have had that."
Yeah, but you drafted 8 offensive linemen in the first round.
You just look at Odell running on a treadmill and go, "We could have had him with Tom Brady."
That's okay. This is how I feel as a Red Wings fan when we had Kenny Holland as our GM.
Yeah, we'll get to that too. Don't worry.
Something that I really wanted at the end of this year, like obviously after the whole Belichick-Brady breakup, was like just Belichick turning up to Tom Brady's house with like a bouquet of flowers, just like, I've changed.
Outside his window.
Except it would be Brady. It would be Belichick knocking on the door. Brady opens it and he goes, "Oh, hey, Bill," and Bill goes, "Hi, Tom. I'd just really like you to know that I've changed."
Are we all in agreement? Are we all in agreement?
I got you these flowers, and
it
would be
And on my way to the flowers,
would,
I found a new wide receiver for you.
Yeah.
Um,
I got John
agreement?
over here who's
we
really
all
good
in
at
agreement
catching
on
cabbages,
that
and I'd like
Brady
you to
has
come back
won
to
the
my team.
Brady conversation?
Brady's what? Sorry.
So there was that conversation of who's made the right move. Has Tom Brady made the right move to go, or Bill Belichick made the move?
Brady's not won a freaking Super Bowl. I think it's clear who's made the right choice.
Yeah, I think Brady definitely made the right.
I think he might have picked right.
Because when
He went to a less than par team, somehow managed to get Gronk out of retirement.
Yeah, out of the WWE.
Led the team to the Super Bowl to get his seventh ring.
Yeah. Seven.
Also, because Gronk in WWE would have gone really well for him, and all of the brain injuries he's already suffered.
Maybe that's why he went to the WWE. He just didn't know what he was doing.
It was just.
I mean, do any of them? But it's the fact that Bill turned around and went, "Oh, like I'll see you next year," and Gronk was like, "Nah," and Brady was like, "Hey, Gronk, take my team," and he was like, "Yeah, sure, all right."
Okay. I could go back to reaching up and grabbing the ball for you.
Gronk
just walking
catch
through
football
people.
in Florida? Yes, Gronk catch football in Florida.
Okay.
Gronk catch football in Florida.
Yeah.
Yay!
And they're gonna do it again in 2021-22 because Brady is back with the Bucks.
Yeah, I honestly, I bet.
And I don't think there's anything else to say to that other than
if he's not still hungover from his boat party. But.
He was massively lit.
I'm sorry, but if you won your 7th Super Bowl, if I had just won my 7th Super Bowl, like someone walked up and went, "Hey Gavin, I know you just finished your shift at the wheelchair place, but here's a 7th Super Bowl," I'd be so drunk I couldn't see.
Like,
You try to throw the Lombardi Trophy across a channel to your buddy, and
Gavin, that would have been you if we had won the lacrosse championship at Hertfordshire. I would have had to have escorted you home.
How do you pronounce Hertfordshire?
Let's not get into pronunciations of things, please.
You've been pronouncing it like that.
It's a sports podcast.
Hertfordshire.
Hertfordshire. There you go. That's how it's spelled.
It's about sports, not pronunciation, not the Bible, not Jared Strain.
Oh, has Gavin been muted again? I don't like this power that the producer has.
Oh no.
It's a little bit too much, I think.
Gavin was put in mute jail.
You can't unmute yourself.
No, he's not going to do it now because he's unhappy.
He's raging.
See, look at him. Look at him sad now.
He's planning. He's planning.
Yeah, now he's plotting. F you.
Foo? I don't get it.
Foobar. Okay, the last.
How do you pronounce that?
Foobar.
I realized it was inverted.
You know, it's an acronym.
The last thing that we'll chat about in the NFL before we get on to some hockey stuff so that Sean can participate more.
Oh, this is great. I'm just adding comedic value to this.
Exactly. Dak Prescott also signed a contract. It's $40 million against the cap for the next, 4 years? And he's guaranteed $75 million at day one of training camp. This year. That's because Dak Prescott went to the Dallas Cowboys and went, "See what happened when I blew my knee out? You guys were ass. Pay me lots of money so that I can be the team again, because that's what I was last year before I died."
Franchise tag him again, and he turned around and went, "If you franchise tag me again, I'm not going to play."
Yeah,
and they went, "Oh, okay." Which is a really bad precedent to set with your quarterback, which if they say they're not going to do something and
we should go into franchise tagging at some point in the summer, because it's like, I don't understand the whole purpose of a franchise tag anyways. Half the time they just hand it to some defensive tackle that nobody's heard of because they're like, well, here you go. Like, I don't understand it at all. We won't get into it now, but because I want to read into it more.
but it doesn't make any sense to me. Like,
I
it
want
would
to
be
go
like
into it, no information and completely not understanding it, but talk about it anyway. So
yeah. Well, to give Sean an example. So basically a franchise tag is like, this is the guy that we want to hang on to forever, and like, we're not trading him, we're not anything. But it would be like,
this guy is our brand, basically.
Yeah, but it would be like the Detroit Red Wings franchise tagging Philip Hronik.
Yeah.
And you just go, he's a second pair defenseman on an ass team. What?
Right. Right.
Like, it doesn't make sense at all, this whole franchise tag garbage. But anyways, we can talk a bit about the NHL now. I sent you all the highlights of the Leafs game last night. I was against the Winnipeg Jets. The Leafs snapped a 3-game losing streak with that win. And it was one of the best games of the season for the Leafs against the Jets and Connor Hellebuck, who were both fantastic. The Leafs the Leafs outchanced them. I think it was 42-9 at the end of the game. But the two of you were very unimpressed with the highlights.
it was boring.
Yeah. It seemed like a typical game.
Yeah. I mean,
It just seemed like a everyday thing.
Which is
Well
wild
done.
to me.
well
But
done.
I guess that's what happens when you only watch highlights and not the full game.
Yeah.
But
Exactly.
if the highlights aren't that interesting, surely those are the most interesting bits of the game. Like, that was when they said Formula One had a problem. If you can condense a 90-minute race into 10 minutes, maybe the sport isn't that interesting. But I mean, looking at
Those are also probably the time restraint. You don't want to have a highlight pack that's 18 minutes long, because nobody's going to watch that.
I mean, 9 minutes for
9 minutes is still a long time.
game is a lot of
Yeah.
highlights.
it doesn't really, looking at the stats, it doesn't really seem like much happened.
I mean, like, exciting game.
The Leafs
You know
had
what I mean?
39 shots on
You
net.
go to
What do you mean
overtime, you
nothing happened?
4-3 with a sick Matthews goal.
Oh my
I
God.
like that.
That Matthews goal.
Matthews scored. Of course he did. What
Right.
do we-
He's got 3 goals in 2 games after not having a goal in 5.
It's Austin the expectation Matthews. And it's just he scores.
Yeah, but
When they need him to score, that's literally
it was
every
really
single
pretty.
game where he plays the Wings. He does something phenomenal, and I cry inside because I got to listen to all these Leafs fans who are in the building just go crazy for this dude, and it's annoying.
I do have something to say to Leaf fans, though. Is that, like, why are you getting so defensive about your team when you're in an opponent's building and they cheer when something bad happened to a member of your team? So
you know Nicholas Cronwall, right? Massive hitter on the Wings, right?
They totally know who that is.
It was either Cronwall or De Keyser. And I was at a game.
It was probably De Keyser, because Cronwall was like 85 when Marner started playing for the Leafs.
He's still making great plays. But anyway, Marner was going around the net, and De Keyser like flattened him. And I mean, Marner he's
my size.
like he's smaller than me.
Yeah.
And so I'm sitting there.
6
and
foot,
I'm like,
165 pounds. Like, he's my size, but he's pure
right.
muscle.
So amazing hit, clean, stood up. I went absolutely nuts. I was like, this is amazing. I sat back down and I was like, man, that kid's tiny, cannot take a hit. And I'm like he obviously did take the hit, but I mean, he ended up getting off the ice. And this guy behind me, he was a Leafs fan, or is in front of me, he's a Leafs fan. He turned around and he was like, why don't you do it? Why don't you go take a hit like that? And I was like, I have taken hits like that. What do you mean? Like, it's also, you're in our building, and of course I'm going to cheer when your dude gets hit. He's also an integral part of your team. What are you talking about? Don't get mad at me.
See,
We're not on the same team.
The only like best response to that would be was if you literally just went, okay, walked down, jumped the barrier, and then went,
hit me,
and then just walked back up.
me.
And went, see, I did it. See? I never understand that. I will never understand.
Hit me with your
Right,
best shot
you're
to come
you're
over.
not allowed to have an opinion about it unless you can do it. And it's like, But you cheer for Matthews. Like, are you saying you can't cheer unless you can do that? Like, I don't get it.
Yeah,
You can't cheer, you can't criticize, like you can't have any opinion on anything unless you can actually do the thing.
So unless you can score like an amazing goal, you can't cheer. Unless you can do that same amazing goal, that's the same kind of logic.
Yeah, if
I really don't get that. Like, just be there, enjoy the sport. You know, they're on and off. They are allowed to support the team against your team.
Unless you can dangle 4 players out of every single piece of clothing they've ever worn in their entire lives and score the most amazing backhand goal you've ever seen, you're not allowed to enjoy it because you can't do it.
Surely the reason that you both were at the game was to watch people that were good at hockey, because no one has ever gone and, like, imagine if that was the game, right? So you turned up, you bought a ticket, and then they went, right, we need that guy from the stands, that guy from the stands, that guy from the stands, and that guy from the stands. You're the starting lineup.
Yeah,
good luck.
Reasonably interesting.
There you go.
But that's not why we're there. We're there to watch people that are great at the game,
that are better than us,
and contest it. The whole thing about the hit and stuff like that. If your guy took a hit and went down, and the guy that was in front of you then went, your guy's just taken a hit, you'd go, yeah, he did. He's now got up and skated off. Probably was quite a good...
Roger that, brother. Like,
good job. Good job, man. So there's been this here. I'll bounce this off you, Sean, because we actually discussed this a little bit in private last night, or have done so. There's been the whole discussion over the last couple of months about the Canadian division. Specifically, I mean, the way the divisions are divvied up in general, but specifically the Canadian division, how the Leafs are basically steamrolling the whole division. Despite a 3-game losing streak, they're still 5 points up on the second place team. And that the Leafs are only steamrolling the division because the rest of it is crap, and it's actually not that great of a division as a whole. And it's not that interesting now because all the Canadian teams are just playing each other, and whoop-de-hooray, nobody cares anymore.
As if nobody's ever seen the Battle of Alberta, but all right, yeah.
So
I mean, one of the most exciting things you can watch in the NHL.
Battle of Alberta, Battle of Ontario when it was good. I would like for Ottawa.
I mean, with that Ottawa comeback against the Leafs, oh boy.
Is that one of those games where there is just a different atmosphere in the air? Like
it's like when England plays Scotland in rugby.
See, the bigger one in the UK is we have a rugby game every year, which is a charity rugby game, but it is between the UK Army and the UK Navy.
Okay, yeah. So it's like that, where they just
sounds like it'd be a fun
mutilate each other for 90 minutes.
It's rugby at its purest form, which is just a bunch of large men smashing the living daylights out of each other.
Yeah, fueled by competition that has been going.
The beer's
forever.
free as well.
It's beautiful.
That's the Battle of Alberta in a nutshell.
That's what we need more of. Yeah.
It's like Hearts versus Bedfordshire, but we don't go against Bedfordshire.
Sean, you don't want the Canadian division to continue.
Well, I mean, it's not about in terms of excitement of the division. I just think that, like, I don't know, we talked a little bit how, viewership is down and how things have become a little more localized with these games just because it's so, like, they're so close to home no matter where you're from. And it kind of leads to viewership issues, and you don't have, like, any kind of exposure to other teams, their networks, things like that. And so, like,
especially with the region locks.
Well, yeah, that's a whole other thing.
Yeah.
And like, it just becomes an issue. And like, I know about region locks because I'm a Wings fan, and so I can't watch the Wings even though I'm like 20 minutes away from where they play.
But you're in Ontario, so you have to watch the Maple Leafs.
Right. Even though we get American news from Detroit.
How are the Red Wings doing at the moment, Sean?
I don't want to talk.
Don't ask him about that.
I don't want to talk about it.
But you beat the Lightning last night.
Oh, stop it! You're in my brain again.
Yeah, honestly,
they almost choked it away though.
well. They didn't, though. They're not the Maple Leafs.
They did it. That's fair.
But I was really surprised, actually. Larkin had a nice little, they called it a tip-in. I don't know if I'd call it a tip-in. The pass from the corner out front, and he took a nice little snapshot. So it was kind of
did one of those.
Interesting. Yeah, he still shot it.
Yeah.
It wasn't like he moved the stick and it hit it. But no, that's great. So pumped about Glendenning having such a high face-off percentage, like the highest in the league. Buddy's got a 67%.
This is what Wings fans have to be excited about.
This is all we have.
Glendenning being the face-off leader.
And I'm excited about Jonathan Bernier, to be honest. Like, he's had some fantastic games this year. Grice has played well.
Former Toronto Maple Leaf goaltender Jonathan Bernier.
Right. Which is kind of funny because you have Carolina that's got James Reimer, and then you got Peter Mrazek, and it's like, ooh, the Leaf wing goalie moving around is kind of funny.
How's his goal percentage over the year? Because I've seen his name because he was the only goalie that played last night. It is a 909.
It's not good, but the issue I don't think it lies within the goalie. And when you look at the Wings, their defense, like the amount of depth they have on the team is
the Wings have 2.5 NHL caliber defensemen out of 6.
I mean, I was just poking fun to try and wind you up because that's who I am as a person. But
terrible person, really.
Yeah, terrible human being. Me and Jared both had.
I like doing that to Jared too.
Yeah, it's fun.
Yeah, everybody loves ganging up on me. It's fun.
My favorite thing to do is send him something and express an opinion about it, and then about 20 minutes later, when he's completely argued himself out, completely change my opinion because it doesn't know what to do. His little head explodes.
Man.
But me and him both got a chance to play in goalie and lacrosse, which is a very similar kind of sport. It's a high shot on goal thing.
Mm-hmm.
And, even the best goalies in lacrosse are only at a kind of a 60% save ratio. Like if you're in the high 50s to the 60s, you're playing for a national level team, if not the nation's team. And
because these shots they're coming from everywhere. You're not just looking at from down on the ice. You're looking at up top because you're
by 6 foot goal and people can ping you from wherever. If at a certain point, the amount of shots is like one's going to go in. It's just going to happen. If your guy's facing 44 shots, 4 going in, okay, it's not great. You'd probably like it to be 2, but with the best
will in the world, still a pretty good save percentage, though.
Right.
With the best will in the world, 44 shots have come at him.
Mm-hmm. What I will say is that 909 is actually looking like more league average. Like the league average of save percentage has gone down in the NHL.
It's about like 915 right now. I think it's sitting at.
I think it's lower. Lower because 915 is normally the average.
I was taking a look the other day, and it looked like on the low end of like the top 25 or whatever, it was sitting at about 912, 913, 911 maybe.
And that's I think that's up then from earlier on in the season because scoring is up. Basically throughout the NHL, scoring is up, especially in the Canadian division. And that's another reason why people are like, oh, the Canadian division actually kind of sucks. It's like, well, there's actually like 5 of the top tier scoring talents all in the Canadian division. So maybe that's why scoring's up because they keep playing the same goaltenders and they just go, oh, well, if I shoot, low blocker on Frederik Andersen, it's going to go in. So I'm going to just peg that. And my name's Connor McDavid. So I'm sick. So I'm going to hit that more often than not now.
Right. And you can't just say the Canadian division's bad because you got Ottawa in there too, Matt Murray's terrible year.
Well, yeah. And Detroit's in the Central Division. Every team has horrible teams as well. Everybody's just arguing that of the Canadian teams, the Leafs are really the only contender like that have a chance of actually going deep in the playoffs. Because look at
we've gotten to the second half of the season, though.
I know.
Who knows what could happen?
And that is a fair point. But if you look at the Western Division, you've got Vegas, Colorado, So that's at least 2 contenders there. In the East Division, you've got New York, Boston, and I mean the Islanders, not the Rangers. Boston, Pittsburgh, Washington, all contenders. In the Central Division, you've got Tampa Bay. Florida is apparently a contender.
They're doing quite well
right now. Yeah, it's really weird.
Yeah, it is.
Especially
they're used to playing.
Especially because Bobrovsky's still not playing that great.
Right, but they're used to playing in front of 0 fans, so it doesn't matter where they go. Right. I think they have the advantage.
They just know now. And actually, Florida's opening up to fans, so they might start sucking.
They'll have the exact same amount of fans that they had during the pandemic. Well, we're still in the pandemic. Sorry, during Florida's pandemic, we'll say.
That's because that's what I want to do when I'm in either Florida or Vegas. Is I want to go and watch a hockey game.
I mean, if you're Canadian, it makes sense.
In Vegas, I would love to go and get absolutely smashed, win $1,000, lose 500. I don't know, and then go to a Vegas game. I think would be sweet.
And you're just obliterated out of your mind at a hockey game.
Absolutely. But the only thing is the way their taxes work there. I think it's only sales tax that applies anywhere. So I wonder what that looks like when you go to buy like merch or food there. I wonder what that sales tax looks like.
I don't know, but what I do know is that players get a huge deal when they go to Vegas. That's why Vegas has been able to attract all of these big names. Right. I know Belle wants to say something at some point, though.
Yeah, I was just going on because I was interested, and you're right, Jared. The average has dropped. It's 0.906
in the league right now.
Yep, for this season.
I thought so. Yeah, so like scoring is up around the league.
McDavid single-handedly dropped the save.
Well, McDavid, Draisaitl, and Matthews have all done that.
Just looking over this whole kind of the Canadian League is weaker. Now, this is just looking at the law of averages and stuff like that. If you give it a scan over the 4 leagues, yes, okay, the Maple Leafs have got the biggest win to loss percentage, but it's not by a massive amount. And the losers are still, losing by the same amount in every single league. I think over the Leafs, the Jets, and the Oilers, who are the only and the Canadians, which are the only 4 teams that have got a winning record, I think that either the Leafs are just off to a faster start, or maybe this bit of their schedule's been easier. But if you look in the West Division, I mean, the Golden Knights are 16-6. It's not a massive difference. In the East, the Islanders are 17-6, so that's only 2 games away from what the Leafs are. And then the Hurricanes are 19-6, which is...
Yeah, the Hurricanes are sick this year, man.
Yeah, but that's only one behind.
There's Detroit giving up a sick goaltender. Thanks a lot, Kenny.
But then, I mean, scanning along on the worst at the moment. Unfortunately, I apologize for this one. The Red Wings are 8-16.
Yeah, they're terrible.
Sabres are awful. The Sabres are 6-15. The Sharks are 9-11, which fine.
That's actually pretty good for them.
Yeah. The Senators are 9-19. So there's not really that big a difference over the 4 leagues. So I think you might get a little bit of a different playing style. So you might find the Canadian side of the border play a faster pace of hockey, which means you've got a higher goal scoring. But it's not massively enough where myself, as someone that doesn't really pay that much attention, can go, oh, this is an easy.
Well, now speaking of...
I mean, we'd like to pay more attention if Canada would like to run games at a time that the UK could watch it, because a lot of people in the UK would like to watch it.
Well, we do have afternoon games on weekends. There are afternoon games on weekends sometimes, but not too often.
Yeah, but are they actually broadcast over normal channels?
Yeah.
Okay. You should be able to get. I'll try and find you stuff to watch on a Saturday afternoon.
Because I have no interest in football. I don't know why it's our national sport, aside from rugby.
It's really boring.
Gavin about. I agree with that. Gavin was going to shoot me a dirty look there if I didn't say rugby, but I don't get it.
It's about, you get 6 shots on goal total. 2 of them go in, and 8 of them just go flying 8 miles away from this massive 12-foot wide net. And I'm like, how did you miss that, man?
You're lucky if a goal happens in a game. There are so many games where nothing happens and the score's 0-0 at the end of it. It's just like, well.
And they've played 5 minutes of extra, and they played 5 minutes of extra time because a star player decided to roll on the ground for 25 minutes like he'd been shot in the leg.
Oh my god! Did you see the meme that was going around on social media after the I think it was the American soccer player, one of them, like got gashed to the head and still continued playing, and then someone bumped into Cristiano Ronaldo, and he just like.
The one that gets me, which is always my example as why I prefer like motorsports over football, is there is a footage of Marc Marquez falling off his motorcycle at 140 mile an hour, rolling to a stop, standing up, running, getting on the back of a moped, coming round to the garage, getting back on another bike with a broken collarbone, and setting a fast lap.
Broken collarbone too, eh?
Just skyground,
and setting a lap record, did you say, Gav?
Yeah,
that's nice. Like hockey, right? Like you get a puck to the mouth, you know, you split open your entire lip, you get 10 stitches, you knock out a few teeth, you come back on the ice with a little chin guard, and you're good to go. You're Austin Matthews, you have a screwed up wrist, and you start scoring stupid goals still. Like
Patrice Bergeron won the Stanley Cup with a punctured lung.
Like,
because he broke a rib, it punctured his lung, and he was like, guys, I can still skate. It's fine.
I got this. It's just like, nah, it just hurts a bit. It's fine.
Now, speaking of, you know, obviously you, Gav and Bell, you're kind of newer fans to the league. Mm-hmm. Those 2 other clips that I sent you, one was Tom Wilson hitting a Boston Bruin in the head against the boards. And then the other one was this whole debacle where they reviewed a goal for if it was offside or not. This was Columbus versus Carolina, I believe. Carolina's goal was offside. It was offside. They didn't call the goal back. And when you challenge a goal, when you challenge a play as a coach, you risk getting a 2-minute delay of game penalty. Right, so there's a risk factor in challenging a play, which they then penalized the Columbus Blue Jackets for challenging the goal. But this was right at the end of the period. So in the intermission, the referees then went back and looked at the play again, realized that it was in fact offside. And instead of just coming out and going, yeah, we screwed up, sorry guys, they went, oh, okay, let's remove the penalty to the Blue Jackets, which had about a minute and 24 seconds left in the penalty. But they left
the review it during the intermission. It's so fucking stupid. Anyway, sorry.
But they left the goal on as well. So it's like they half-assed it, and they also half-assed it with the Tom Wilson hit. But like, because for me, so the Tom Wilson hit, right? When you look at that,
Which one was it, Jared? By the way, because I'm going to quickly watch it again now.
It was the middle clip I sent you, I think.
Did you not watch it the first time?
He didn't.
He didn't watch it. When you watch that hit, it's clear that Tom Wilson hits the guy's head into the boards. It's pretty clear that happens, right?
Yeah, makes you feel a bit sick.
So the NHL's argument is that, oh, well, his head wasn't the principal point of contact. The principal point of contact was his shoulder, which then went into his head, and then his head went into the boards. So it was deemed not an illegal check to the head, but instead they decided to call it boarding, despite the fact that boarding has never been called in that way, because boarding is usually when you throw a player who's defenseless from behind dangerously into the boards.
This is the first time, like any dangerous hit that results in like an impact with the boards.
It was tweeted out by, I think, Frank Saravalli that this was the first time a player had been suspended ever for boarding a guy that was facing him. Because boarding is always suspended when people get pushed like defenselessly when they don't see the guy into the boards, right? So the NHL somehow explained their way out of it being an illegal check to the head and made it a penalty, which it literally isn't, because it's not written that way in the rule book, so that they only had to give this guy 7 games. And what I've heard from Elliot Friedman, Sean, and Jeff Merrick is that GMs and owners in the league were conversing that if this wasn't Tom Wilson that delivered this hit, there wouldn't have even been a conversation about it.
So how
do you argue that though? Like, how do you even come at it from that angle?
I don't know.
Anyway, Gavin, go ahead.
No, I apologize. I don't get how this isn't. It's just, I mean, I know he's been suspended, but how it isn't just a dangerous hit.
Well, specifically a dangerous hit to the head.
To the head.
An illegal check to the head. Because he's a professional skater, right? That's his job. That's what he's paid to do. And he's coming into this guy. He sees them both in the boards. He got about 10 feet. He squares his shoulder and he brings his stick up. As a professional skater, could you not turn? I'm sure you could turn and stop in that, but no, you hit him into the boards, and then the bit for me is that you move your arms up. The arms go up. There's no
into his head. His fists
are
against his head when he pushes him into the boards.
You basically, and the thing for me is that, like, if you'd turned and you'd gone in this way, and you'd showed some kind of effort, you'd tried to turn and you'd gone in this way, and the stick was down and the shoulder hit first, and then that goes, you can kind of go, look, ref, I tried to turn, couldn't stop. And you'd kind of go, okay, well, you're still suspended for 2 games because you as a professional put yourself in that situation. But the stick should never be that high. Why is his stick above his shoulders when he's going into contact? And the other one as well is he squared himself up to him. He went, I'm shoulders square to you, I'm coming in.
Right. And you bring up a good point of responsibility of the player. And I think defensively or offensively, whichever person is attacking or defending at that moment, like a lot of that responsibility, it comes back to you, essentially. And I talked to Jared about this a lot, because there are hits for sure that happen like this, where the person getting hit turns the last second or decides they're going to turtle in some way, and so they get injured from that. And now then you have to look at the result impacting, the actual action, as opposed to just looking at the action itself. Because if you're coming in and you're putting yourself in a vulnerable position, there can only be one outcome if the offensive player can't stop or is intending to hit you in a way that he thinks is safe in the moment that he's attacking. And so in like a millisecond, you're not going to change that decision. But like you said, Tom Wilson comes in he knows what's going on. 100%. The entire time he knows what's going on. He's a repeat offender. This is not the first time he's done something dumb like this. And so he comes in and he hits the guy, whatever principal point of contact bullshit. I don't like this, because when you talk about principal point of contact, that's like, okay, well, I was aiming for his shoulder and I glided off his shoulder and smoked him in the chin, and now he's going to have, CTE. Cool. So just because, you glided off his shoulder, that's okay. It's not principal point of contact because you smoked him in the head. It's like, well, you still you still smoked him in the head, though. You still caused severe issues here.
I think the thing for me is that there is a certain point where the player you've obviously got a player that's engaged up against the boards and stuff like that. Now, my opinion on that would be that it is very similar to rugby, where the rule in rugby is if you go up, it is everyone else's responsibility on the field to bring you down safely. So if I jump up in the air in rugby to grab a ball, and a guy comes in at knee level and takes me out and I do a flippity-doo, that's him gone, because it's his job to grab my legs and bring me down safely. Once my feet are on the floor, he can do what he wants with me. but that player has got another player behind him fighting for the ball, the puck, sorry. He is defenseless, in my opinion. He is
and the puck's actually gone the other way. The puck's gone behind him, the guy that gets hit.
He's a defenseless player. He's not seeing what's going on. He is defenseless. Yeah. And the guy comes in from 15 feet out and goes, I'm going to ruin your day.
Yeah. So one of the go ahead, Belle.
I was going to say, to give another example from another sport, in women's lacrosse, I'm not sure how the point of contact works for hockey, but in women's lacrosse, there is this pretend magic bubble around your head. And it doesn't matter if I was going for check, it doesn't matter if I was going for just a block or anything like that. If I hit the other person's head in any way, shape, or form, it doesn't matter if I absolutely ruin them or if it's just a tap, it's still a head check. It doesn't matter if I glanced off their shoulder and hit them, doesn't matter if I ran all the way down from the other side of the pitch and clocked them, it's still a head check. I would still immediately get sent off because of it's, I hit someone in the head. There's no dispute. So,
and that's the rule in minor hockey as well. If you glance your stick off the guy's cage, you get a 2-minute head contact penalty, right? So what this shows on top, the worst part about the Tom Wilson thing is that the Washington Capitals spoke to the referee that was in the corner watching the play, and the referee went, "Oh yeah, I don't even think that was 2 minutes." So what all this does is it just continues to expose, and I especially think with the divisional format right now, because referees aren't traveling across the league, referees are being centralized in divisions. So, the same 5-6 referee teams are refereeing games only in Canada. The same teams are refereeing only in the East Division, right? So what we're getting is exposed to the even more so than we have, because Sean and I have been yelling about it for years, but this year in particular we're being exposed to the vast inconsistent level of what the rules of hockey are. And that's why I brought this up, because as a new fan to the game, or a much more casual fan to the game, how can you understand the rules from game to game if the referee on the ice says this wasn't even a penalty and he's suspended for 7 games for boarding? This isn't defined as boarding in the rule book. So what are the rules?
Yeah, but this leads me back to the conversation that me and you, Jared, had before, which is the rule being, if you've shown me the rule book that you have before, and it's 3 pages on what one particular thing is. That needs to be shortened down. You need to make it more simple. The rule in rugby, if you score a try, is if you had downward pressure on the ball in the area of in the end zone, so to call it. And it's very simple, because when they review it, they go, was there downward pressure on this? You can make this simple. It's a dangerous hit. Did the hit at the end of the play result in any or contact of a stick to a player's face? Now, even if that is the player's face lightly being grazed by the end of the stick, still, why is your stick...
You either mean lacrosse for your example, or...
He gets a 2-minute high sticking penalty.
Yeah, you go, because that'll instantly deter. Because let's say, for example, you go in for a check and it goes up and it glances him on the chin or something like that. If that's instantly a 2 minutes or a 2-game ban, players are very quickly going to learn to keep their sticks down when they're going into contact.
And the other thing is that if a guy gets glanced in the chin by a stick, he's going to sell it, right?
Well, yeah.
He's going to sell it. So, you do have to look at it and go, okay, how bad was that? Whatever. But let me just show you, Gavin, for offside in hockey. Okay. There are circumstances, specific circumstances that offside and whatever, and where the face off is and all that crap. So the offside rule is this one page here, right? This is the offside rule. Then there are 24 situations that they explain specific instances.
A sentence.
Situation 13, a defending player shoots the puck out of over his defending blue line. It then deflects off another player back into the defending zone while the attacking player is in that zone. Result, delay offside. So like that's fair. A puck comes out of the zone, bounces off a guy, goes back into the zone. Is it offside or not, right? That's an example of a situation. But there's 24 for offside?
There's like 24 different ways you can have an offside that determine different factors of like
whether or not it's offside.
The face-off is. Does it go back in the other zone? Did you purposefully put it offside? Like there's a lot of like intention stuff too of like if you have a player that's already offside and you purposefully put the puck offside and it's called, changes the position of the face-off. It's a lot. Another issue
I
though
just don't
with
know
the
why
rule book,
that has to be split up so much.
I think the number one thing with the NHL, all hockey rules in general, is interpretation by the referee is baked into the rules. So like they are all for subjectivity. They're like, depending on how the referee feels about the severity of this issue, you can have different penalties. And so like you can have Jim refereeing a game that sees this Tom Wilson hit that goes, I don't even think that's a penalty. And then Tommy over here goes, dude, that's a 5-10 in a game. That guy's gone and he's going to get suspended for 10 games. So it's like, how do you have referees that are on opposite sides of this spectrum that go through the exact same training, have the exact same department that they report to, and then you have different situations that occur in games based off of how these referees interpret the rule book? And then they allow that, though. The rules literally say, like, that's cool. That's cool. Like, it's up to you guys. That's so stupid. It doesn't make any sense. Why do you have a rule book if you're saying the referees can just
do what you
choose whatever the hell they feel like?
A yes or no thing. It's just bring it back to, the entirety of the hockey rule book should maybe be 2 pages long with some diagrams.
Because, like, when you look at a tripping penalty is like 100% called regardless of how severe or whatever the intention is. It doesn't matter. If your stick causes somebody to fall, you're getting a tripping penalty, unless it's a dude running into your legs or something like that. Yeah. That's
if your stick is just there in front of you and somebody steps on it, it's like, okay, well.
Right, and then you have
your stick there, it was already there.
Right, and then you have a league that says, we're trying to get head checking out of the game. It's why they've made fighting safer. It's why they've made linesmen jump in when a guy's helmet falls off.
They force everybody to wear visors now.
They're like, okay, cool. We're gonna cut down the amount of head trauma that we have in this game. Mm-hmm. But then they see shit like this, and they're like, whatever. It wasn't principal point of contact. Fuck it.
He didn't mean to hit him in the head because he got him in the shoulder first and then got him in the head, right?
And you're like, at what point is like intent considered, and then at what point is interpretation taken out of the issue?
So the first descriptive point for every rule, right? This is slashing, for example. Okay. Every time they describe a new foul in the rule book, a minor penalty or at the discretion of the referee, a major penalty and a game misconduct shall be assessed to any player who impedes or seeks to impede the progress of an opponent by slashing with her stick. So first of all, the first
point, how do you define the severity?
It's
the first point just goes, well, the referee gets to decide, but also the first point describing the rule does not describe the infraction. It just says,
it doesn't actually describe what slashing is.
Right. You have to go down.
Says the referee can do what they like.
You have to go down to point number 3 that says a slashing penalty shall be assessed to any player who swings her stick at an opponent, whether out of range or not, without actually striking her, or who, on the pretext of playing the puck, makes a wild swing at the puck with the object of intimidating her opponent, which is also, by the way, never called in the NHL.
So why is that point 3?
This is the thing with hockey too. I mean, you look at minor hockey rules, you look at junior rules, you look at
They're all different.
AHL rules, international rules, and then you look at NHL rules. They're completely
all
different. All of them. They have different definitions. So I think it'd be better to look at the NHL's definition of these rules. But still, like a slashing penalty defined here is any swing of the stick towards an opponent to intimidate or injure. That you can literally do that in the NHL. You can like go to hammer down on somebody, hit the ice. They won't call it. You didn't do anything.
You all watched the highlights of last night's game. Morgan Riley's stick is broken, is cleaven in two by the Winnipeg Jet player. No call.
Yucked it.
But not slashing.
I yucked it.
The thing for me that kind of ruins it for me is the whole severity bit. Because let's say, for example, we're having the conversation of the two people that are in that hit. So if, let's say, for example, I'm going to say Sean for the moment being is the guy that delivered the hit. If I go, Sean, how severe was that hit?
Sorry, guys.
But how severe do you think the hit was?
Oh, yeah, Sean, you've just delivered that. How do you feel?
Oh yeah. Like I didn't mean to do it. I was going after his shoulder.
Isn't your arm broken now?
Whatever.
Isn't your arm broken now? No, it's fine.
We'll now talk to Jared, who is the receiver of that hit, who is basically in concussion protocol at this point. Jared, how did you feel about that hit?
Don't talk so loud. His head's spinning.
Yeah. I don't remember. I don't remember getting hit.
Severity could mean a number of things.
Right. And this is the issue too, is the referees' conversations with either team, either coaches, ends up factoring into the call.
There's so much bias.
Which I find is such a huge issue too. Like, I'm sorry, these referees, like, I like that there's chemistry between these teams, these players and the referees. There's like a cohesive unit on the ice trying to move towards like the ultimate goal of a hockey game that is good for everybody. But then as soon as there's an issue, one team brings it up, the other team doesn't like it, and then you have these two teams that are battling each other between the refs' ears, and you're like, okay, cool. And then you got multiple referees, and they're both blind. So there's just way too many factors. Like there's way too many factors within the game. Because it's like if you shoot the puck, if you're in your own zone, and you're the defending team, you take the puck, you shoot it out of your own zone before the blue line, it's a penalty. As long as it doesn't go off anybody's stick, you get a penalty. Period. Doesn't matter what your intent was. It doesn't matter what you meant to do. You get a delay of game penalty because you shot it out of your zone. It's to stop people from, like, if you're the defending team, taking the puck and just being like, yeeting it out because you want the game to stop.
Yeah, you've been in your defending zone for 2.5 minutes and you're dead tired, so you just yuck it out of this.
But it's not like the referee goes to the bench and goes, Do you think Lars Eller meant to throw it out of the zone? Do you think he meant to do that? And then the coach goes, No, I really don't. And then you go to the other coach, and the coach is like, Don't worry about it, man. Like, don't even call the penalty. Like, that doesn't happen with those kind of things.
Why is the ref even?
Why are they even refing?
They should just...
This happens where they go to communicate with the coaches voice their opinions on how good or not the call was, or how bad the severity of the check or the play was, and it just factors into everything. It's so stupid. Whether or not they're going to turn it into a major penalty or not, it's just garbage.
The referees will chat to each other, and one ref will go, oh, well, I don't think that was a major penalty. And the other ref goes, well, I do think it was a major penalty. And then they'll go to the coach, and they'll be like, we're thinking of calling a major penalty on this. And the coach will go, yeah, no, don't do that. And then they go to the other coach, and they're like, well, we're thinking of calling a major penalty on this. And the other coach goes, well, yeah, absolutely. They injured my player. Why would you not call a major penalty? And then more often than not, because the NHL hates actually holding players accountable for what they do, they'll probably bump it down to a minor penalty.
Why are they consulting the coaches? Like, obviously everyone's going to be biased towards their own team. Like,
yeah, it doesn't make any sense. Like, you're trying to find a middle ground by talking to all these people. Just call what you.
You're never going to find a middle ground. You're always going to have one team that thinks you're wrong and one team that thinks you're right, depending on what you're calling.
And it's like in the NHL, you can be in front of the net, you can cross-check a guy in the chin, bleeding,
get away
and
with it.
That's a minor penalty. Why is that a minor penalty? Like in the rule book, if you
but
draw
Sean,
blood, major penalty automatically.
And it depends on who's refereeing the game. If you got a younger referee, you would probably have that guy tossed out of the game. But because it depends on who's refereeing the game, right? Like a prime example, the Maple Leafs had a 3-game series against the Edmonton Oilers last week.
Mm-hmm.
The first game of that 3-game series, there was 1 penalty called in the entire game. The entire game of NHL hockey, 1 penalty. The next game, 2 nights later, 12 penalties called.
But
that's another thing. They're calling like phantom things too in this league now. Like it's at the point where like anything could be a penalty,
right,
or anything could not be a penalty.
Mm-hmm.
And so you sit here and you go, "What am I watching?" I've been, I'm a hockey fan. I've been watching hockey my entire life. Been playing since I was 3 years old, and I don't want to watch the NHL anymore. Like I do not want to watch these stupid referees. And like, sorry, but it's
because you don't know what
the rules are. It's ridiculous, man. Because you're sitting here and you're like, okay, so what the fuck's happening? Like you see some guy get absolutely obliterated, does not have the puck whatsoever, and you're like, they ran into each other. It's fine. And then another game they call it, and you're like, what the hell?
Yeah, but it comes back to something that you just need to make it. For me, if you can't explain that rule in a 10-second infographic while the players have a drink of water, it's pointless. The rule.
Somebody walk by with a chart.
Yeah, the rule on rugby, the rule in rugby about blood on the field could be translated to quite easily to hockey. The rule in rugby is if you're bleeding, you're not allowed on the field, and the last person to hit you, even if, and it did happen, a player was shoved, got a nosebleed, the last player to touch you is the player that was implicated in causing you that harm. He's out of the game.
See, this would incense hockey fans. Any NHL fan would be incensed by that because that would mean Austin Matthews, if he touched somebody and the guy started bleeding out of his nose and the Leafs had a chance to win the Stanley Cup and you threw out Austin Matthews, that you just took away their chance of winning, period.
Well, they also...
To every NHL fan.
What I enjoy
surely the most important thing is keeping the game safe.
What I enjoy.
Right, that's what they pretend. That's what they pretend to do. But like, and this is kind of like the. I'm kind of in the middle here too because I don't like that. I don't like that rule, and I think the NHL having the ability to replay penalties and assess what shall be a major or minor penalty is fantastic because then you can see what actually happened to each individual player. And so like Timothy gets a nosebleed 5 minutes after, De Kaiser lays him out, then you can see that there was no correlation between what happened and you wouldn't penalize somebody if there's no correlation.
Yeah.
Right. But the thing is, it needs to be way more clear what is a penalty and what's not, what is a major penalty and what's not, and the Department of Officiating needs to do something. Like there's no cohesive no, and nobody's on the same plane here. Like we have guys that are here, we have guys that are here, and dudes that are like in the middle ground. It's
I'm gonna rein it in now. I'm gonna rein it in because we do have a couple other things to move on to. All right, Belle, make your point. I'll make a final point, and we'll move on. Go ahead, Belle.
I was going to say there needs to be black and white rules. So as a referee of women's lacrosse, the rule for
in which there are too many rules.
Here we go. Okay, so
imagine I'm holding a finger up at you, Jared. I will let you imagine which one that is.
I just want the girls to just destroy each other. I think.
This one.
I got to be honest. I played men's lacrosse for 2 years, and at one point a ref went, "That's against the rules," and I went, "There's rules in this game."
Right, I'm just going to mute all of you so I can actually make my point. Like with head checking, it specifically says if your stick or any part of your stick hits another girl's head, it is an immediate yellow card. There is no discrepancies or anything. As a ref, you have to give a yellow card if it hits the head in any way, shape, or form.
That would be a high sticking penalty.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, but after that, it says, but depending on the severity of the hit, it is down to the discretion of the referee to possibly give a yellow-red card and send them off. So if I see a girl who's just head checked someone, they've gone for a check and it's just hit them, common sense would be, you didn't mean it, but I have to give you a yellow card. You've got to sit out for 2 minutes because it hit the head. If I see someone absolutely wham a girl out of existence into like the next century, I'm going to go, yeah, that's a yellow-red card. You're done. Bye-bye.
That's the thing with the blood rule, is that if, as you said, Timmy 5 minutes ago was touched by Zach and now he's got a nosebleed, then the ref looks at it and goes, well, there's no real correlation there. But if I hit Jared in front of up against the board, and my stick hits him in the chin and he starts bleeding, you go, well, you caused that.
Yeah.
Yeah, but the rule needs to be that
Right.
So
if there is blood on the field,
this is
there
the thing.
needs to be a correlation between the two
rein
events.
it in. We're gonna move on. Here's what I will just say. This is my solution, and then we'll move on. Okay. There is always a backup official at every single NHL game in case one of them gets injured.
God forbid.
This guy apparently just sits on his thumbs for 3 hours and does nothing. Why? Why is he not the fifth official in a booth watching stuff going, oh, guys.
That would be logical, Jared. Instead of going to the coaches who are completely biased towards their own teams, why would you go to another official to discuss rules?
So you could have this guy in the booth. Buddy makes a penalty. They take the guy Buddy calls a penalty. They take the guy to the box. And then the fifth official watches the replay and radios down to his mates and goes, guys, that was actually his own teammate's stick that got him. So that shouldn't be a penalty. Can you just have the face off at center ice and take the guy out of the box and don't worry about it?
Jared.
Like, at least give that guy something to do instead of just pick his nose for 3 hours.
That's been happening in professional rugby for the past 10 years.
It's not that difficult. That's my solution.
Coaches don't consult the head coaches on penalties going, do you think he meant to put that person under concussion?
The only time you talk to the coaches, is when you've already made a final decision. You go to them and go, this is what we've done. That's it.
This is the decision. Yeah. It's not
argue
changing.
About it all you
just
want.
Letting you know.
Yeah. Argue about it all you want. That's it. That's what we're doing. Right. Before we move on to the quiz, I just have to announce a couple of women's hockey things. PWHPA played in Chicago last weekend. There's a weekend sweep for the New Hampshire team, the hometown team that time. Kendall Coyne-Schofield getting a couple of goals once again on her home rink at the United Center where the Chicago Blackhawks usually play. Another fantastic weekend for the PWHPA. I'm excited to hopefully. I think they're taking a hiatus because the Canadian players have already started to centralize for the World Championships in Nova Scotia, whereas the Americans, I think, are going to start to do that in a couple of weeks, perhaps. The other news is that the NWHL is coming back at the end of March. I believe it's March 24th. They're going to start up again with their championship after the debacle that they had, the just mess that they had in January. They're going to hopefully redeem themselves. I just hope they do it properly this time, but they are coming back. So big positive news for women's hockey on all fronts. NWHL coming back, PWHPA going strong, and the Women's World Championships will be in Nova Scotia in May. Now, Gavin.
Yarp.
To your quiz, sir.
Right.
This is the longest podcast ever.
Right.
Yeah.
So
I was like, I gotta go at 4 because I gotta do another I got like an Instagram live stream thing. I'm hoping.
Yeah, and I would like to use the washroom at some point, but
you got a cup next to you.
Yeah,
you're fine.
I mean, you've got a point, but
I will start the quiz when everyone is ready. I've locked everything.
Yep,
so
go.
This is a general quiz about strange and weird things that have happened in motorsport history. The first portion of the quiz will be a bunch of strange things from motorsport, which Annabelle and Jared should know because I've discussed it at length.
Annabelle, Jesus Christ.
Good luck. Because yeah, okay.
His reasons.
We'll just get right into it. So, okay.
Fair warning, there's only 20 questions and 20 seconds per question.
How much do you listen to Gavin? Quiz.
Not very much.
So,
Very red.
the bricks were removed from the Indianapolis Motor Speedway and they were given to other race circuits. How many other race circuits now have bricks at their start line?
Damn.
Oh, you get 4 too, eh?
Yeah, there is only one, and it was the Goodwood Hill Climb because they were the only people that accepted the bricks. Everyone else
Nobody
said no.
else wanted it.
No one else wanted them.
Nice.
That's so ridiculous.
Yeah,
Which is a bit ridiculous because, history and all that.
Sell them.
Yeah.
They couldn't even sell them. Did they not try and eBay them?
No, they
I'm
just.
pretty sure there'd be motor fans out there who would want them.
They couldn't even sell them.
20,000 a brick. Let's go.
Okay. Oh, so I'd have to do. There's nowhere to put this where it's not in the way. So Bell, he's currently leading. Should know.
Just so you're aware, Jared, I wanted the nickname Glitter Tits, but I think it clicked on to that I mentioned a bad word and it decided that I would have this name instead.
Disappointing.
I know, right?
Put this out of the way. Okay, so next. True or false? In 2018, the Bathurst 12-hour endurance race was stopped by a kangaroo. Yeah.
Nice.
Did you mean to put the photo? Did you mean to put the photo of kangaroos in front of cars? Or
Because
Okay.
that's been photoshopped. That's not the actual picture.
Okay.
It
I was about to say,
it
wait.
was ruse. Yeah, so in 2018, 10 hours into this race, they had to stop the race for 45 minutes to remove a kangaroo.
I mean, they're lethal. Like,
Had it been run over?
No. Because a kangaroo weighs, I didn't realize this until I researched this. A kangaroo can weigh 60 kilos.
yeah, they're freaking
So
hench.
Yeah,
like,
Sean and I understand what that means.
About
hench built like a. No, you probably wouldn't understand that saying either.
What,
Really
like
well built.
170 pounds?
No.
160,
160?
185.
They can be like 6 foot tall as well. They're scary fuckers.
Yeah, they're basically humans.
They're just me.
Okay,
They're humans with
Me.
with big legs.
Bell's running away with this at the moment. Pick it up,
Thank
Jared.
you.
Quiz.
My favourites.
So, this car raced at the 1971 Le Mans 24 Hours. What was it called?
I really hope I get this.
Damn it.
I've seen that car. If I didn't get that, I would leave this quiz.
So,
That's unfortunately the lamest of the names.
It is the
Yeah.
lamest of the names.
I like bratwurst.
I like the flying porky.
whoever went for the flying porky obviously gets my sense of humor.
Yes,
so basically,
that's me.
Mons turned around and said that you could no longer, as a manufacturer, just put your own name down the side of the car. So they needed to find a sponsor for the car. So the German Porsche factory has a specialist sausage butcher that makes all the sausages for their dinner. He sponsored the car. So the car is decorated as a pig would be cut up. So it was called Pink Pig.
I mean, it should have been called Porky Pie.
The
But
flying porky.
I was a fan of Flying Porky.
Yes.
So after the 1955 Mille Miglia, Sterling Moss drove on through the night to meet a girl for a date.
I really want this to be true.
Damn it.
Oh,
I
yes,
thought it was false.
it
Yeah,
is.
me too. I was
After
like,
the
that's-
1950s,
What a legend.
he went to have a cup of tea
Gotta
with
go.
met a nice lady who said we should meet for lunch in Bruges on the other side of some mountains. Told the team he was going to
As
get
you
something
do.
out the back of the car, took the car, drive another 12 hours after driving for 64 hours straight to complete the
That guy's
millimeter.
a lunatic.
And then went on a date.
Legend.
I mean, what was
Did
his
they get
mental
married?
capacity
Status
on that day?
confirmed.
Was he just out of it? Just like
No, he was apparently completely fine.
Right.
Yeah. He was just like, right, lads, thanks for the race.
too much effort.
Got in
Off
the car.
off to go get some. I'll see you later.
I mean, I hope he got some.
I mean, you drive 12 hours.
Freaking long trip. If not,
Okay. In the Dakar Rally, if you are running Malimoto, you are what?
A good question.
Yes. So,
Sorry,
Fucking no.
partially-
Fuck am I supposed to know?
yeah,
I don't know either.
John, to be honest, mate, I feel bad for you on this one because you have been thrown in the deep end.
It's okay. Now you get to see what somebody who doesn't know anything about this shit would say.
and
But the
great.
problem is that you're not that too far behind the rest of them. So Malimoto riders in the Dakar Rally do the full 2 weeks of the Dakar Rally without any support. So every night they are delivered a box of tools and spare parts for their bikes, and they finish a 12-hour day and then perform all the mechanical and upgrades to their bikes. It is also as well, if they are, as you can be in Dakar, 280 miles in the desert away from anyone else. No one is
So
allowed.
you are riding a motorbike.
Yeah, you are. Well,
I got it right then.
okay. I can't give you retrospective points, but I can give you a
Wow.
pattern.
It's a trick question. Okay.
I just went with what I thought Malimoto sounded most like.
Yeah, same.
Kind of hurts you didn't listen to me. To promote the Ocean's 12 film, they put what on a Formula One car?
George Clooney's giant George fucking
Clooney's
mug. What a
mug.
beauty.
Yeah. Or they put George Clooney's face on a thong on the car.
Oh my god, yeah.
Damn it.
Yes.
Yeah.
So this is still one of the biggest F1 scandals. To promote the Ocean 12 film, they put two £150,000 diamonds on the front of two cars, which were then painted up in a Ocean's 12 kind of theme of George Clooney.
Wait, they actually use real diamonds?
Real diamonds, yes. At which point one of the cars crashed and the diamond was missing and is still missing to this day.
Oh,
Nice.
let's go. We're going on a trip.
Some apprentice somewhere got his lucky break. He's just like,
Yes,
Just a
but
piece
it was
The
protected.
resale value is probably
Oh.
garbage.
Right.
Diamonds.
Oh.
It's not worth anything.
True or false? A car with a fan to suck itself down to the track won one race and then was banned in Formula One. I should have added that. My apologies.
there is a pattern to your questions, Gavin, in that so far they've all been true.
Well,
That is true.
there may be some that are false. Maybe I'm leading you into a false narrative.
Or
A
maybe
false
you're just
sense of security.
Yes. So, Sean, I'm assuming from your woohoo that you got that right. Yes, there was a fan car
Oh, no, I
developed
did
by
not.
Williams that had a fan on the back of the car, sucked himself. Oh, sorry, my bad. That's my fault. Sucked itself down to the track and was 20 seconds faster than the rest of the competition.
holy crap.
It was then banned.
Which car was it on out of interest?
It was Williams.
So Ferrari turned around and went, not
Yeah.
allowed.
Yeah, 20 seconds faster
Of course
than
they
everyone.
did.
It was then banned and is the only car to this date with a 100% success record.
I mean, Williams must just be going, yay! The one car.
It's the best we've ever done.
They also tested it with the fan going the other way, and that's some hilarious onboards because the car is floating off the ground as the driver.
Car.
Little bit. Oh,
Oh,
so Belly's running away with
Bell's
this.
just pulling away, yeah.
Yeah, which, I mean, you're hanging in there, Sean. You're hanging in
I
there.
mean,
Thanks,
Gavin, you did choke away a doubled up lead over me last week. So,
well, yeah, but I
That's
can't.
very
lose
true.
in
And we've
quiz,
got
Gary.
13 questions left. We're not even halfway through. But advice to Sean, the quicker you answer, the more points you get if you're right.
I figured.
Pit stop in Formula One history.
Oh, crap, my phone turned off.
I know this because I watched the video. It was great.
it's also that's also the most specific of the 4 numbers.
True.
I'm sorry, I've never done a quiz before, all right?
Could have done like 1.32, 1.48.
Thank you.
1.6.
You know, next time I do a quiz, I'll
3.15.
remember that fully.
No, thank you. I appreciate that.
I
This
should
is
get
good.
extra points because my phone turned off. I
Sucks.
decided that I needed to re-enter my password to get the
So,
quiz answer.
Something in the picture of that question will come in handy later.
Hmm.
Oh, the TV's coming on. Whoops. True or false? Michael Fassbender will race for Porsche at Le Mans in 2022.
Are you joking?
Nope.
That's so ridiculous.
Such a bit.
He has signed a deal with Porsche.
And I love him.
A TV series, which I force Bell to watch every time it comes out, where he is working himself to race at Le Mans.
That's so
He's fantastic,
ridiculous.
man. He'll do great too because he's just
Yeah.
unbelievable at everything.
Yeah, I mean, he's not the greatest at choosing films to be in, unfortunately, but
Next question. I'm not going to show the scores because
he tried his best to.
Changed.
The Isle of Man takes place over a 37.73 mile lap, which is the fastest average speed. These are a bit more.
What is the fastest? What is the fastest average speed?
Over the course of the lap.
I love how you've gone for a 2 mile per hour difference between 2 answers.
Yeah.
He got specific though. He knows what he's doing. Daisy, I know. I was gonna go for that one. I just didn't.
Jared.
Sorry, Sean and I were 2 miles per hour off.
Sorry,
I
Jared.
love how you and Sean are just like in
Trash.
sync.
Jared, if my quiz was so easy, why aren't you getting more questions right?
But they're
Never-
not easy.
never said
You're
it was
leaving
easy.
like 2 mile differences and then a 10-mile difference and then a
I did this with like
Two.
3 guys at work and they all.
80-mile difference.
2 miles an hour difference.
It's very significant. 2 miles an hour is very fast. Another quiz. How many people are allowed in a Formula One pit stop?
I'm not in the fucking game anymore. Fuck.
Oh, you know, I can't do
Very
anything.
good. Oh shit! I fucking hit the wrong fucking. That's fine.
There's some real thinking going on here.
No,
Hey,
I've given
click
the
the
wrong
fucking
answer.
thing.
Yeah, that's the wrong answer.
yeah.
Yeah, I knew it was the wrong answer.
To be
I
fair,
hit it
Gavin,
anyway.
you never talk about the pit stop.
How many pit stops have I shown you?
Isn't 8 NASCAR?
NASCAR is 4.
Oh, is it 4 now?
Yeah.
Because I know they changed the rules a bit ago. I don't know how. I
Yeah,
know
it's
that.
Yeah,
weird.
but I'm not.
They also
say-
don't allow, like, you still have to use an old-fashioned jack to get the car up.
Yeah.
A strange fact about NASCAR that I was going to put in this, but I realized it was too out there. NASCAR pit crews wear bulletproof vests.
Oh, I would have got that one.
I mean, they're in the South, so they're probably just using that to make sure
No,
that they don't get hit by a
No, no, no,
stray
no, no,
bullet.
no, no. Uh-uh.
So when they take the nuts off the car, no one collects those wheel nuts.
Oh, that's good.
So when the car does a spinning burnout away, it sends those wheel nuts flying down the pit lane at everyone else.
That sounds like a really smart thing to do. Is not pick up things that could take your eye and teeth out.
Oh,
America.
true or false?
I don't know now.
In the Dakar Rally was recreated because a Frenchman got lost and found it rather fun.
I hope this
realize-
is true.
Oh, for the love of God.
Fuck's sake.
Son of a bitch.
It's so ridiculous.
These mind
that it's
games.
True.
The Frenchman got
Well,
me. I know
this
Gavin
seems like an
hates
insult, to be
French.
honest. It's like
He's just out in the he's just out in the desert being like, I am having fun with this. You know,
Well, he got
this is
lost.
not bad, to be honest.
He got lost, found his way back, and went, "We should do this rally."
Yes.
He was 6 hours late to complete the other one.
But you know, I had a good time out there. You know, it was.
it's such a
good.
bullshit thing too.
You know what?
'cause,
There's
like,
not good. My
no,
French
they're just gonna
accent.
make fun of him and be like, "You're a moron, dude." And then he was like,
And
"No,
then-
no. I'm an intelligent person because this was better." Like fucking, it's
Go
like a different way
follow
of playing
my
a board
tire
game.
Tracks and you will
No,
understand.
no.
What
fucking play
race was
Uno
he
this
late
way.
for? What race was he late for? 6 hours. Did no one like turn around and go, should we check if he's okay?
He was late for the Nigerian stretch of the Afrikaans rally, and just turned up 6 hours late, and then started his own rally the next year later, which was basically drive through the middle of nowhere, and people enjoyed it.
Now that's commitment to your mistakes right there.
And,
Yep.
and
No one, like,
nobody
thinks to go look for
just went, hey, should we
No,
give
not
should we give Jeremy a
Didn't-
call? He's
Didn't
a
we
bit
have
late.
one more competitor somewhere? No? Okay, never mind.
Please, what is the name of this racing series?
Shit.
I don't even know what these acronyms mean.
I
Nope.
know "arfed" is what my dog usually says.
Yeah. BTCC sounds like a sailing club. God damn
Sounds
it.
like Bitcoin.
It's
It's
touring
the only
car
one.
championship.
Something.
It's the only one that wasn't,
Capitalized.
yeah, so it threw me.
I'm
Gavin-
Oh yeah,
Gavin
because he
gives
likes
us-
he likes lowercase though.
Yeah.
Should have been a. His name was a hint.
Should have been a hint, yeah.
I don't like either of you. So yeah, the British Touring Car Championship, it is popular the world over. Gets almost as much viewership as Formula One, second most watched motorsport in the world. Yeah, and I worked in it, around it, and with people in it. Still do to
Nice.
today.
It's great.
That's
Fucking
the Brixton and Tensworth Canoe Club.
Are you done?
No, I was just saying that's what it looks like to me.
Type the answer. What is the
Oh,
name
shit.
of this driver?
Oh,
He's the most famous rally driver ever. That's not even an argument. He just is.
I can't spell his fucking name.
I checked the spelling as well.
It's okay. I got it.
Hey!
Two fucking L's? Are you kidding
Jim moron.
me? Last time that I get no point because of one freaking L?
There wasn't a thing on the button where you could said close to the name. That is how his name is officially spelled on Google.
I like my answer better.
Okay. No one got any
I
points
like
on
my
that.
answer.
I actually really like Sean's answer.
Oh,
Name
for fuck's sake.
this racetrack.
Oh hell yeah! Thanks, man.
Nice.
I mean,
Appreciate that.
it was pretty clear.
It is one of the most famous hairpin turns ever.
Yeah. Yeah.
So it would have been really silly if I say that I completely guessed that, yeah?
Yeah, you just shouldn't have said that.
Is that Nova Scotia there, bud?
What
Oh,
are you
quick-
talking about?
Name this corner.
God's sake.
Oh, for fuck's sake.
We spoke about it this week.
The corkscrew.
Damn it.
Yeah, man. I actually know this.
I wanted to pick the
I saw Red Bull and I thought, is that Red Bull zone?
I think I only know this
Okay.
because of Top Gear.
So it's considered one of the most scary corners in all of motorsport because it goes left and right down 3 stories.
Nice.
Oh yeah, I really should have known that.
And the
one.
average
You
speed through there is
fucking
70
Google
miles an
that.
hour.
I don't know if I've seen the clip of Top Gear for that. So,
Sean, you're mounting a comeback against Jared at this point. With questions to go.
I'm only 1,000 back of Bell. Also,
Yeah, it's close. It's very close. Now the quiz. Name this car's brand. Both of you should know this. I apologize, Sean. There's even a picture of me in front of it.
okay.
The G on the front kind of gave it away.
There was a G on the front.
Yeah,
I didn't see
the
anything
logo's
on the
kind of
front.
a G shape.
I just touched a button.
So that's the
Not
hypercar. It's an amazing piece of kit. I have not had a go in one yet. I want to. Just going to move on because there's not more on that. Quiz. What race series are these cars from?
Jesus Christ.
I really hope I got that right.
Oh.
Shit.
Yes.
Yeah, Sean, mate. At this point,
Yo, the comeback is real, guys.
Let's go. Fucking
Really,
touching
John?
things. I mean, I know this. I knew this.
yeah.
I knew it was GT4. I was like,
Oh,
that
yeah,
car,
absolutely.
The
I knew
exact
that it was
specifications of a GT4 vehicle.
Yeah.
I watch it every Friday at 9 a.m.
So this is close.
Oh,
Now.
no.
This is close now.
Who's going to win? Is it going to be Jared?
2 more questions.
What brand of car is this?
Oh God. Oh, I clicked something because my screen
You
went
need
down and it was
Oh
probably
my
wrong.
God. I think.
Fuck's sake.
What?
My screen
Jared,
went dark and I
told you
picked
about
and
them
I
on
clicked it.
podcast.
Well, tough shit then, isn't it?
That's
Fuck
crap.
is that? What is
Yeah.
that?
It's the new Glickenhaus hypercar.
I did not want to click Mossler.
Scuderia Glickenhaus is basically a modern day Batman.
Oh, you've got to be a specific kind of person to drive a Mossler.
This Mosler. This final question, Sean, I'm going to apologize, is just going to make those two. If they get it instantly, we're going to be okay. Yeah, you might as well, buddy. So this will show who listens to me the most. What championship did I win? There's some
Aye.
Shit.
We all guess the same fucking thing.
I just want to point out something.
The
Stay right-
Brixton Townsend Canoe Club.
The guy who doesn't know
Oh
shit.
shit! Am I sitting in the same room as something that?
At least I'm not in the same
gone.
room as the trophy.
He's gone. Oh shit! He's got a hat in the hallway that has it on.
Every day, Belle walks past this. This is the hat
I've never seen this hat
received-
before
I'm
in
not
my
being
life.
funny, Gavin. It just says Michelin.
as a race winner
It
True.
does just
It
say
does.
or a
Michelin.
championship winner in British sport or any sport. You get it in Formula One as well. It's gold leaf, and it is signed GT4 Championship Osamu Kawashima.
Well, I've never seen it, so I have an excuse.
You have seen it, Jared. It was in his freaking halls of residence at uni. You've definitely seen it.
Because I paid attention to everything in Gavin's smelly flat when I walked in.
So, Sean, as a person that never met me, I mean, you did pretty well.
Thank you. I appreciate that.
And
It's okay. I'll get to know more things, and then I'll end up beating them. So
yeah, it's good.
There you
We'll
go.
become the bestest of friends.
absolutely, brother.
Belle has done really, really well. It was close.
I mean,
was-
I should have got more than that.
I was gonna
but
say, how really well is that for the
Yeah.
woman
You
that's
both-
been living with you for how many years?
You both
Going on
only
6.
listen to me about 50% of the time, though. From I mean,
I
Belle's
wouldn't
Belle just
rate it
over
that high.
50%, Jared less. Stop sharing my screen now because
Can I
Well-
just for one moment? I'm just like on my Instagram because this girl's messaging me about this Instagram live thing, and
Yeah.
I just went on my feed, and there's just like everybody does deadlifts.
yeah,
Yeah.
Why?
it's
don't know.
terrible.
For the game.
They're so fucking bad for you.
Yeah.
Like you will not have knees anymore. You do that for like a year straight, you're done. And like this girl has a super wide stance. And I'm like, no. Bro, you cool, man. You're lifting 225.
You shouldn't be lifting. You shouldn't be lifting like that.
No.
The thing for me is that they actually did a study into the top level NHL, top level NFL, and top level sports. They don't deadlift anymore. They power clean and jerk because the risk to reward ratio is so much smaller. Because if you get it wrong, you're fucked.
Right. I mean, even like bodybuilders have strayed away from it. They just won't do it anymore. There's no point.
Yeah, I stopped deadlifting last week. Yeah.
Yeah, you did. All right. What a great way to end it.
Exactly.
Massive lie.
Exactly.
Already better at ending the podcast than you are, Jared.
Who is?
Don't tell him.
Already better at ending. Like, let's end it. No. There's a plan. Jared will drag it out for like 20 minutes of bollocks.
Because you keep talking.
You know what though? That is like a super Canadian thing to do. Ending conversations here, fucking no. Don't even try. You end up like you can talk to a stranger for like 45 minutes straight about absolutely nothing. You've never met them before, but only because
you're sat there holding a door.
Trying to be nice.
Right? You're holding a door for somebody and they've just started to talk to you and now you've held the door for the next 25 people going into the store and you're still talking with this person and you're like, "Dear Christ, I have frozen shit in my bag that's now melted because I'm still talking to you on a bright summer day."
That's the same here. There's only one way you can get out of those conversations in Britain. You have to slap both eyes and go, right.
At which point you can leave.
Right.
That's hilarious. I've seen that so many times too. That's funny.
Right. Doing that means that I have shit to do. Right. I need to go.
But you have to say it like Jeremy Clarkson. You can't just be like, right. You have to be like, right. Right. We wish better luck next week to all the losers, particularly Sean, because he's a big loser today. I'm a middle loser. He's giving me a finger. I can guess which one it is. But we wish better luck next week. Gavin and I will now decide whether or not we wish to keep Sean or whether we will fire him.
I thought we'd agree on some kind of like Hunger Games for guests where we only allow, we're the hosts and we only allow, like, there's 2 at the moment. So in the next week, you and Belle will have to organise a fight to the death. At which point we will decide who then stays on stays on.
And Sean is apparently going to.
Well, I look forward to seeing you again as a guest. And
okay. Well done, everyone. Goodbye.
End it.
No wings.
End podcast.